floor. Nice one. Let's go start the road. Ready?
Ready.
You ready? Okay, so you're about to watch an awesome video on ice baths, but Jules and I had a bit of an epic fail, and you may or may not be able to see all of my head during all of the video. So in order to make up for that, I thought I'd do a naked snow angel as punishment for an epic video fail, and I'll be throwing snowballs at Jules later. Naked snow angel. There it is, snow angels. Hey everyone!
Instead of doing a snowman, I'm just going to get pelted by snowballs from some of the other angry Proverb team members at the minute.
Ah!
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 This is brutal!
Ah!
Perfect!
Ah!
No! This is go! Why did I make so many snowballs? God. Oh. Perfect! Apology made. Hope that makes up for it. Ready?
How not to ice bath? Jules?
First, bud, you need some ice.
Oh no, that's right! I didn't even put the ice in. So you might be wondering why I'm standing in the freezing cold in February having an ice bath in my garden. I blame Jules.
Completely my fault, I've got to admit. We were in the office the other day and we're watching on Instagram some guys do an ice bath. And I thought to myself, why do people ice bath? And you know, Luke being a professional athlete in his past and all, have you ever ice bath?
I have, and I have to say, there are mixed reviews, so let's have a think about it. People talk about ice baths for recovery, but what are you recovering from? So, there are a few things to think about. If, for instance, you're recovering from strength training, which is where you train hard, you tear the microfibers in your muscles, and you want them to rebuild afterwards, that's a long process. Ice baths probably actually aren't the best, because the inflammation process, those DOMs, the delayed onset muscle soreness you feel the next day, is actually helping you build muscle. So actually, if you're weight training, you're building strength, ice baths might not be used. So don't stand in your pants in the garden.
Especially not in middle of February when it's already pouring a rain and the bin full of water's been out all night to get frozen.
Right. It's definitely cold. So I'm going to talk about for you guys a bit about my experience or what I found it works for. So if you're out there and you're thinking, why my ice bath to improve my training, then here are a few reasons that I found it worked. Number one is if you're training a couple of times in the day, you're training hard, you might get lactic acid buildup, which is when you respire anaerobically, which means not using oxygen. That acid feeling, that burn you feel in your legs or in your muscles can really hamper you if you have to train later in the day. So getting in one of these will help you flush it out your system, because as I can feel now, it's basically making all your veins in vasodilation vasocontraction, and that will, when you get out actually, and your blood flows back into your system, it's going to flush out all the acid, it's going to help you recover. Okay, number two, the other reason, which is entirely irrelevant today, and in fact quite amusing, there's a jet flying over, is pre-cooling. If you're very in a hot climate, like Dubai, where we're going in a couple of weeks, in fact they do this with jets, they pre-cool the engine on the ground before they start it up, because that increases the efficiency. And it'll be the same for a human. If you're in a really hot country, you could get an ice bath or a cold shower, and that would pre-cool your body. The added bonus of that, as Ben will tell you, is like the neural stimulus you get, you actually feel fired up, because let's face it, I'm definitely awake.
Okay, and then just one quick bonus question as well.
Yeah.
What sort of athletes actually ice bath? Now I hear about boxers ice bathing and sprinters ice bathing, but rugby players obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, cyclists, a big one. So the third reason you might ice bath is to keep your body temperature down. So anyone in a hot country really, so if your body temperature gets like 39 degrees, your mind essentially shuts down. You ask the tennis players in the Australian Open recently, apparently they were struggling. Part of that is mental. Your body doesn't want to push you to the point of heat exhaustion or damaging yourself, so it starts to reduce your performance.
And just shuts off.
Well, it just shuts off. It lowers your performance. You're going to move less quickly. You're going to produce less heat because it doesn't want to overheat. So in between ice baths, I mean, and let's face it, ice baths, full submersion is the extreme. Cold showers, the full immersion we'll do in a minute. But also, just an ice pack on your neck, a cold fan on your face. All these things help, reduce your core body temperature.
Sweet.
So, Jules, what do you think? Are we going to get you one of these soon?
I mean, if one person will comment, I'll definitely do it.
Okay, that's a challenge.
One person has to comment, and I'll definitely do it.
So,
and I'll find a way of doing it better than Luke. Somehow,
okay.
I'll have to one-up it.
Perfect. Exactly. So, there we go. That's a challenge. Any of you out there want to see Jules in an ice bath, then all you have to do is comment on any of our platforms, and we'll get him in one. That's been me standing in an ice bath in the rain in February explaining how not to ice bath. But the important thing is, don't just assume that ice baths are for everyone. Ultimately, you need to pick the right occasion, the right reason, and experiment. I mean, I was listening to a guy the other day that was talking about ice bathing or icing his face before bed.
Okay.
Part of the reason for that is your vagus nerve, which is one of them, like your triggers in your body. If you immerse your face in cold water for long enough, it starts to cool your core temperature, increases your metabolism, which some people think can help with fat loss, but ultimately it reduces your core temperature, which is a good state for sleeping. So he was, and I'll put the link to his video in there because I thought it was quite interesting, he was training himself to keep his face in ice water for 5 minutes before bed, and he swears by it producing a better night's sleep. So, you know, and let's face it, that could be part of your evening skincare routine as well. So Jules just asked, when was the last time I had an ice bath? To be honest, I can't remember, but the first time I ever had one, which fits into the cooling your core body temperature, was actually in Hong Kong after playing in the Hong Kong Sevens in an ice bath in a hotel, which was all a bit weird at the time, but actually it was awesome. And as I said, when you're running around in temperatures like that, it's humid, it's hot.
It worked.
It worked.
Yeah.
We had to train in it, we had to play, so obviously in a tournament like that, you play 2 or 3 games in a day, get your core body temperature down in between, reduce the damage and inflammation, and then get back out there and smash it.
Alright, well, on that note,
me, underwater, morning, live fueled, get your day started.
I might stand back.
Can't promise this is a part of my everyday morning routine, but let's see how far I go down.
Okay, sweet guys. Also, share your ice bath stories with us if you had any ice baths in cool places like Hong Kong, anywhere, even in the back garden in your own wheelie bin. Let us know.
Good, bad, or indifferent. Let's hear them.
Sweet.